तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल.
So, good morning, one and all present here. Respected Nehru sir, Yogita ma'am, and all my dear friends. Today, I'm going to speak on a topic which is not only important from the leadership roles, but also important for the other roles in all walks of life. So, the name of the topic is communication skills. In this presentation, we'll get to know about the various things about communication skills, including the effective communication, the 7 C's, which makes the communication effective, as well as the ways of improving communication and the communication for the SSB perspective. So we'll start with the definition of the communication. So what communication is? So first of all, we have to understand that communication skills and the English are two different things. Normally, we tend to use both of these things interchangeably. English is a language, but communication is a skill. So English is just a part of communication skill. To have a good communication skill, it is important to have good English. So basically what communication is. So communication is a process through which we can share our thoughts. We can, as a sender, share our thoughts and the message with the receiver. And sender sends it in the encoded form and receiver decodes it and gets the meaning of that message. And in the meanwhile, after this process, receiver gives the feedback. The feedback would be like the response of the receiver, whether he understood the message or not. In this whole process, noise would also be present. Noise would try to barrier the communication process. So we have to lower the noise level. We have to deal with the barriers so as to have good communication. In simple words, if we want to understand the communication, it is just sending information from the sender to receiver. Now, we have to understand the goals of communication to improve it. Communication is having various goals. A few of them are here. Like the first goal could be to inform anything, to inform about anything to any of the individual. So to inform, we have to first communicate. Then only we can pass the information. That communication can be in either of the form, whether written or oral. The other goal could be the persuasion. We want to convince anyone. So to convince any individual as well, we have to communicate with that person. In this process, we have to go series by series. First, we have to connect with that individual. Then we have to convey. Then only we can convince. So we should try to follow this sequence only. The other goal could be the relationship building. Normally, we have seen that there are some people who tend to make friends very early, but there are some who are very much reluctant to talk. The one reason could be that they might not be having the adequate communication skill. So communication plays a vital role, that how you are talking, how you are just get mingled with other people who are completely unknown to you. While our SSB stay as well, we see both varieties of people. So communication plays a vital role in that as well. Now, we have to understand the meaning of effective communication and why it is important, why communication need to be effective. To convey the real meaning of the message. If we want to convey anything and it does not reach the receiver as it is, the goal of the communication is not fulfilled. So communication is to be effective, and we can say the communication to be effective if the receiver receives the information in the same manner as we want it to convey. What we have conveyed and receiver receives the same information, the meaning he gets, then we can say the communication is effective. And in this whole process, both the receiver and sender get satisfied. Now, we will learn about the 7 C's which can make our communication effective. So in this series, the very first C is clear. So clarity is the foremost importance. Your thoughts must be clear. Whatever you are saying must be very much clear. So it starts with the clarity of thoughts. If you are ambiguous in your mind only, then definitely you would not be able to convey the message clearly. So your thoughts should be clear, your language should be clear, the words you are pronouncing should be very much clear. The next C is concise. The information that you are conveying must be concise. It should not be big paragraphs, because at times it happens that in big paragraphs, big lines, the main essence of information is lost somewhere. So it should be in a concise form. The next C is concrete. Whatever information you are conveying should be based upon some facts, figures. It should not be vague, because if you will just pass on the vague information, and receiver will not have the faith in you, the credibility of your communication will be vanished away. So the concrete information should be there. Next is correct. Whatever you are speaking must be absolutely correct, whether it is the statistics or the grammar. The English you are speaking must be correct, because at times it can be the possibility that whatever you are speaking, the receiver did not get it. It can be just because of the grammatical error. So pronunciation, grammar, and the content should be absolutely correct. The next C is coherent. Your information should be coherent in a proper manner, in a proper consistency, whether in terms of tone, the content, or anything. It should not be like jumping from one place to another. It should be in a proper sequence. The next C, and very much important C, is complete. So it is very much important to have complete information. Pass on the complete information, because then only the receiver would be able to understand it clearly. Like in Hindi, we have read about one small phrase like bhago mat jane do. Like if it is like written as bhago comma mat jane do and bhago mat comma jane do. All the sentences are same, but the punctuation mark changes the meaning of both of the sentences. So, at times Nehru sir also says this, that punctuation, full stop, plays a vital role. So do use the proper punctuation while writing and convey properly, completely. Next is courteous. You need to be polite, courteous with your audience, whoever the receiver is. By being polite, you would be able to connect more adequately in proper manner. So be courteous while conveying any information. Now we'll discuss about the ways of improving communication skills, how we can improve it. At times we have heard that to be a good speaker, you have to be a good listener. So the very first step is to be a good listener. Be an active listener. You should learn to listen first. Focus fully on the speaker. Whatever he wants to convey, try to learn it. And then only you just interrupt in between. So one American writer named to be Mark Twain, he also said that if we were supposed to talk more than listen, we would be given 2 mouths and 1 ear. So we should listen properly. And listening is not same as the hearing. It is not only from the ears. We have to listen carefully, not only to the words, but how he's speaking, the way, how he's pronouncing the words, how he's taking proper pauses. For this purpose, what you can do is just, you can make the role model. The role model speaker, you can just follow him to learn how he's speaking, the voice modulation part. Then definitely by imitating him, you will be able to learn many things. In this process, you can also watch English news channels from the various countries. You can subscribe to various news channels on the YouTube only. So it would be helpful in learning the pronunciation part, how the people from the different countries pronounce. Like BBC News and Sky News are from UK, CNN is from US, Fox News is also from US. In this same manner, Al Jazeera is there, which is from Qatar, and ABC News is from Australia. So in this manner, you would be able to learn the pronunciation part, the way of speaking of the people from the different corners of the globe. So try to learn from the anchors in the news channels. Also in the series, you can learn from the Hollywood movies. In starting, what you can do, you can just start watching with the subtitles. But as you start to learn, you can turn off the subtitles, and without subtitles, you would be able to understand that particular movie. So Hollywood movie can also play a role. English songs can also play a role. So next step is the improvement of verbal communication. Here comes the English part. English is different from communication, but it is not detached. It is an integral part of communication. It is very much important to have command on the language. Then only you would be able to speak properly and have good communication skill. So you should have proper knowledge of grammar. Then only you would be able to improve your verbal expression. So start gaining knowledge of grammar, then try to apply it, whatever grammar you have learned. And how you can apply it? You can start writing anything. Start to use the words you have learned, the grammar rules you have learned in the sentences. You can start writing journals, start writing articles, emails, etc. If you remember, in class 11th or 12th, we used to write the articles, speeches, and all. And at that time, you would feel that your English was better than it became in the college. So you should keep on writing these things. Definitely, it helps, and it also channelize your thoughts as well. And while speaking, you would be able to channelize your thoughts in the same manner. The other important part is to improve your vocabulary, and you can do it by reading more and more. Read whatever you want to read, any book, any novel. You can also read newspaper. Newspaper is a very rich source of improving the English vocabulary, because daily you encounter with new words. So especially the words which get repeated time after time, you can have a note of those words, and definitely it will help to enrich your vocabulary. I would like to add one more source, that is Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. Many of you might have read it, and those who have not must read it, because it is a really good book. And when I read it, I found it is not like the rote learning. You do not have to memorize anything. It is like a normal ongoing process. The whole book is divided in 47 sessions, and you can do one session per day or more per day. And the only requirement is that you have to be continuous while learning, and read that book 3-4 times, and definitely you will feel the difference. The other part of the verbal communication is the pronunciation part. You can improve it by listening to more videos, also by trying to speak. So whenever you read anything, try to speak loudly, and then you will be able to find the words at which you are not able to speak properly. And also, when you will speak loudly, your jaw muscle will get trained accordingly. Since we are native Hindi speaker, our muscles are trained according to the Hindi language. So by speaking the English language, you would be able to train your jaw muscles according to the English language, and try to pronounce properly. Then definitely your pronunciation would improve in the long run. After this, what you can do is you can start conversation. Start conversation with yourself first. If you are not able to, if you are not confident enough to speak with any other person, then start conversating with yourself. Have a self-talk in English only. Try to speak or try to think in English only. Then after, you can switch to speak with any of your siblings or with any of your friends. Do not hesitate. Just communicate. Then only you would be able to improve the verbal part. The next part in the communication comes is the non-verbal part. And non-verbal part consists of various things, which includes facial expression, eye contact, tone of voice, posture, body movement, gestures, and all these things. These are very much important parts. In fact, Dr. Albert Meherben also said that 93% of our communication part is non-verbal and 7% is verbal only. So non-verbal is also very much important. So how you can improve it? You can just speak in front of mirror. You can notice about yourself, how you are speaking. And today you get a very good platform of using your phones. You can record yourself in front of phones, in laptops, and you can have a watch later on that how you are reacting, how you are speaking how your face expressions are while you were speaking. So in this manner, you can definitely improve. In fact, Dr. Albert Mehrabian also said one thing, that if words and the tone of voice and the behavior, that is the non-verbal behavior, disagree, so definitely audience would follow the non-verbal behavior, the tone of voice instead of words. So this much powerful is the non-verbal part. So you should also let emphasize on the non-verbal part. The next thing comes is the fillers. We tend to use fillers, like, so we should not use these fillers because they do not beautify your expression. In fact, they just degrade the quality of our communication. So to improve in this aspect, what we can do is just start with the clarity of thoughts. You should be clear in your mind that what you want to speak. Then you would be able to speak it without any fumbling, and you would be fluent enough to speak, and fillers can be avoided. The other thing, what you can do is, many people have the tendency to use these fillers, even when they have the knowledge how to speak, what to speak, then also they use these fillers. So in that case, what you can do is, you can just have a track of those fillers when you are using these fillers. By recording, you can do it. So at that particular time, you just have to keep in your mind that you have to be at the steady pace and think upon it, then you will speak. Then definitely you would be able to avoid those fillers. And also, the speed also plays a vital role. And you should take pause whenever you feel like you should be. Don't be in a hurry that you have to complete your speech. So definitely you would be able to avoid the fillers. Now the next step is speed only. So speed plays a vital role in your communication skill. Normally, what we do, that we have a tendency to go fast, finish it early, but there's no hurry. The person who is sitting there to listen will listen you, and the time that has been allotted to you, it is your time. So don't be in any sort of hurry. Complete your whatever you want to convey, and go with a slow pace. Take proper pauses, and you should select your words carefully so as people can get the meaning properly. In fact, you might have listened the various eminent speakers. Like I can recall the former president of USA, President Barack Obama. Whenever you will listen him, you would find that he used to take a lot of pauses in between. So those pauses beautifies his expression, and it also generates the curiosity in the listener. So it tends to help in having a more effective communication. So don't hesitate to take pauses, take proper pauses, and it will help. Now, I would like to give some additional tips so as to improve your communication. So very first is the exposure. The exposure is the very must thing that one should have. People should expose themselves in uncomfortable situations. Then only you would be able to feel the real-time scenario. So don't be afraid of going on any stage. Try to grab the opportunity. It would be definitely helpful to improve your expression, your way of speaking, and it will also give you confidence at the end. And while you will volunteer, it might be possibility at the first time you are not able to speak even a single word, or you are not able to speak in a proper manner. But you have to just go again and again. Don't be afraid of anything. And in the meanwhile, you will feel the stress as well. So try to manage that stress. And stress management would help you to embrace your quality of expression. Many times we have seen that people are aware of the topics and they also know the English language, but they are not able to convey that particular part. That is because of the stress. In front of interim officer, even many people might have feel that they are not able to speak even when they know the answer. So it is because of the stress only. So you can do it by having more exposure, and by meditation also you can focus on that particular act, and you can manage your stress. The next thing is, what you can do at home is you can frame a kind of speech so as to practice and so as to have a visualization of that particular scenario. You can record it, and you can just have a record from your siblings. You can also speak in front of your friends. Then definitely they would give you feedback, and you would be able to improve yourself. And in this manner, you will be able to track your progress as well. The other two important things are believe in yourself. Whatever you have learned, your knowledge is good enough for that particular time. When you are speaking, believe in yourself that you are good enough to speak on that particular topic and speak fluently without any hesitation. And the next thing is give yourself time. So what happens that we have the tendency to learn anything, and we expect things to happen at a very fast pace. But English or the communication skill is not that thing. In fact, any aspect of personality cannot be changed in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So communication is also that thing only. So expect it to happen in a long run, and give yourself time. Keep on doing those things. Definitely you will improve in long run. So in this manner, you can improve your communication skill. Finishing this part, I am able to recall one quote that communication works for those who work it. So basically, you have to start working on the communication part by practicing more and more, by listening, by learning, by getting knowledge. Now the next part is about the communication skills from the SSB perspective. So in SSB, if we talk, communication plays a vital role, whether in the verbal form or in the written form. In GD lecture, verbal is needed. In GP and the psychological test, the written form is needed. So we have to improve ourselves in terms of the communication skills so as to perform well in the SSB. Among them is the reading newspaper is a very important thing that we can do. It will not only embrace our knowledge, but help us to build upon our vocabulary. So reading newspaper could be one of the way by which we can prepare for the SSB. What you can do in the meanwhile process, that you can add points to your knowledge and note down those points that you are forgetting. And you, by keeping note of those points, you can just revise before going to particular task or particular test. So you can revise and you can perform there very well. So other part is the listening part. What we have observed that in SSB as well, many people have the tendency to answer. They just want to get burst, whatever they know. So do not follow that approach. Just focus whatever is being asked by the assessor or the interviewing officer and answer accordingly. It will definitely help you to improve your communication with your mates as well as assessors. So the last point would be, you have to be polite. Don't be aggressive. Don't try to dominate. Because if you dominate, it just distorts your communication with your teammates.
You take on Yogita while he gets back.
Yes, sir. This was one of the last slides. This is what we both have added. How, from SSP point of view, what is important and how communication plays a role. For building good communication during your GDs and lecture aids, you should have good eye contact. You can have an informal way, kind of hand gestures. You do not have to overtly show the hands, but yes, you should be welcoming to others' points as well. It's not that you should cut. I completely disagree with chess number. This is wrong. You have to, politely say, I agree with your point, but I want to add something. So that will be good. Plus, in your interview, as sir also said, you have to be precise, brief, and ask and listen to what the interviewing officer is asking. So you once you listen to the question, you know what how to frame your answer. But if you do not listen, you might tend to go astray, and you might speak something that is absolutely not needed, and the interviewing officer has to get back. I asked you this. You do not tell me about this. So this should not happen. That was the last slide.
Okay, very fine. Thank you very much for a very good coverage of this topic. Anyone having any questions can ask Yogita and Keshav. Keshav, as and when he joins, he'll answer. Please go ahead and ask your questions. You can keep getting them one by one. I will keep adding my points on these. So you can keep moving the slides. Now, the first only slide, very important point for all of you to remember is that in the environment we have today and the defense aspirants who go for SSB, only 15% need to be checked for overall things. 85% are absolutely liable for rejection based on inadequacy on their communication skills. Fine. So by improving your communication skills, you are entering the 15%, which is a very limited percentage. 85% will be getting rejected for poor communication skills. So it is that important as far as SSB is concerned. Fine. This is some figure you will not get from anywhere. This is a figure which I have got in my mind based on my experience working in the selection system and now dealing with it. Fine. Very important. Please remember all of you. Okay. As far as these things are concerned, I have not anything to add here. You can move to the next one. This is fine. Okay, move to next. Same meaning and all that. Okay. Aage chalo, aage chalo. In this, a very important issue is the first point. I notice that a large number of students do not understand things clearly. And this is something which starts from your academics, basic academic stuff. Whatever you are reading, you must understand it well. If you are not understanding it well enough, then naturally you will not be able to convey your ideas with clarity because you are yourself not clear. So this is one thing which you have to do. Often I find that a large number of students, they have this chalta hai attitude. Yeah, तकरीबन हम समझ गए हैं. वो जब बोलना शुरू करता है तो पता चलता है कि या लिखना शुरू करते हैं तो पता चलता है कि clarity तो थी नहीं. So this is very important. So start getting clarity in understanding whatever you are reading or visualize, develop your own methods. Start from your maths, physical sciences and all that. उनको समझो तो ना clearly कि क्या हो रहा है. आप visualize करोगे, आप सबका मैंने इंटरव्यू लिया है और आपको पता चला होगा मैं बहुत सिंपल चीजें पूछता हूँ और आप में से 80-90% ठीक तरह से नहीं बता पाते वो चीजें. तो ये इशू वहां क्लैरिटी का आता है. तो इसको करिए इम्प्रूव. नेक्स्ट इज ये कंसाइज वाली बात. अब कंसाइज देखिए, ये आपका नेक्स्ट पॉइंट आ रहा है इम्पोर्टेंट कि जब आप फालतू बातों के बीच में अपना मैसेज रखेंगे तो फालतू बातें आर द नॉइज. तो आपका मैसेज जो है उसकी क्वालिटी डाइल्यूट हो रही है. इसलिए आप ये देखिए, जब लिखिए और बोलिए जितना हो सके मतलब की बात ही बोलिए और लिखिए और कम से कम बोलिए. उससे मैसेज जो है आपका डाइल्यूट कम होगा, कंफ्यूजन कम क्रिएट होगा और इसकी रिलेशनशिप क्लैरिटी से ही है. जो इंडिविजुअल क्लियरली चीजें समझा हुआ होगा वो अपने थॉट्स क्लियरली एक्सप्रेस कर पाएगा. मैं भी पढ़ रहा था कि हमारे जजमेंट जो है वो लंबे जजमेंट्स होते हैं. ये कोई अच्छी क्वालिटी नहीं दर्शाता, ये कोई लिटरेचर का आप वो नहीं दिख रहे हैं। अगर बहुत अच्छा कोई जजमेंट हो, मेरे हिसाब से वो शॉर्ट होना चाहिए, क्रिस्प, क्लियर की यू why you arrived at a particular judgment, that's it, not लंबी लंबी कहानियां। So I am talking of that at the highest level, Supreme Court के judgments and all. If you have very long judgment, don't think they are great judgments. If they were short, they would be better judgments. Concrete, इसमें तो कोई डाउट नहीं है कि जो आप बात कर रहे हैं, अगर फैक्चुअल इंफॉर्मेशन है वो उसमें डालिए, नहीं तो जितना हो सकता है प्रिसिशन से बात की जाए। करेक्ट, ऑफ कोर्स, नथिंग टू से, कोहेरेंस का है कंप्लीट। अब यही चीजें अगर आप देखिए, आपके पास सिचुएशन रिएक्शन टेस्ट आते हैं। अब मेरे से इंडिविजुअल कई कहते हैं कि हमने जो था शॉर्ट रिप्लाई रखने के लिए जो था, हमने ये चीजें नहीं लिखी कुछ बातें। तो जो आपकी है चीज, पहला पॉइंट क्लैरिटी का और 6 पॉइंट कंप्लीट इंफॉर्मेशन वाला, वो आपने डिफीट कर दिया। तो ये तो इंपॉर्टेंट है। यू कैन नॉट be concise at the expense of being lacking in clarity. Clarity and completeness are more important than concise. The point may have figured at number 2, but in precedence you should see clarity first, thereafter completeness. कि information जो मैं दे रहा हूँ पूरी बात है कि नहीं है, उसके बाद फिर छोटी करिए। ये है। सो दिस इज व्हाट इट इज। ओके, मूव टू द नेक्स्ट वन। एक्टिव लिसनर, ओके ठीक है, बात आगे चलिए। लिसनिंग का ठीक है कि आपने ठीक बातें की, फाइन। इम्प्रूव करिए, बिल्कुल अच्छी बात है, तरीके बिल्कुल फर्स्ट क्लास। और आगे, अब जहां आपकी ये बात आती है इम्प्रूव करने की, नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन, as far as my teaching goes, you don't have to bother about these things. Why you don't have to bother about these things at all is that so long as what you are speaking, you speak honestly and you speak with conviction, you believe yourself what you're saying is correct, then these things will fall in place. अगर आप बोली दे रहे हैं तो फिर आपकी बातों में ये चीजें कमजोर पड़ती हैं। एंड दीज नॉन वर्बल पार्ट्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, ये जब कम्युनिकेशन सिखाने वाले और पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट वाले जब ये काम करना शुरू करते हैं, तो वहां वो कंफ्यूजन क्रिएट करना शुरू करते हैं स्टूडेंट्स की जिंदगी में, अपनी जिंदगियों में भी करके रखते हैं। मैं आपको मोटी मोटी बातें बताता हूँ। आप देखिए, आप ना उसका सुनना, जब बिल क्लिंटन का केस हुआ था, उसका वो मोनिका लेविंस्की वाला, वो उसकी कहीं आप रिकॉर्डिंग सुनना, आपको उसकी बात सुनने से पता चल जाएगा बिल क्लिंटन के झूठ बोल रहा है। ठीक, तो ये जो है, और आप ये देखो, अब बिल क्लिंटन जैसा आदमी, अमेरिका का प्रेसिडेंट और इतना पुराना प्रेसिडेंट है, मतलब एक्सपीरियंस, उसको ये शिक्षा देने वालों की कोई कमी रही होगी? ये सारे पोस्टर टोन ये वो दे रहे होंगे, नहीं दे रहे होंगे? I mean, did he have any lack of access to such things? हो सकती है कमी इसमें? नहीं हो सकती। लेकिन पता चल जाएगा, आपको पता चल जाएगा झूठ बोल रहा है बिल क्लिंटन। तो what you have to do is try and ignore all these things, because if you are speaking honestly and you are speaking with conviction, these things will fall in place. And if you are not doing that, they will not fall in place. As per my perception or to the best of my understanding, these aspects you cannot manage. So, best thing is ignore, be honest, and be convinced about whatever you say. Yeah, next. Yes. हाँ, अभी आ गया 97%, 93% एंड ये जो था आपका 7%। कि आपके वर्ड 7% हैं and your body language is 93%. This is a fact. But once again, my conviction is, and what my teaching is, do not try to bother about this 93%. This 93% has to be in sync with your personality, and that will come by your honesty and conviction. That will carry, the tone shown, wo sab kuch will fall in place. By artificially trying to do things is not going to work. Right? So this is there. Yeah. और क्या है? I think this was all that I wanted to convey to you. हाँ, इतना ही मैंने कन्वे करना था. ये फिलर्स वाली बातें आप समझती हैं, फालतू की कोई भी चीज है जो है नहीं डालनी चाहिए. हाँ, एक मुझे ध्यान आता है, एक बड़ा पॉपुलर फिलर है राइटिंग में. आप सब ना स्टोरीज में स्टार्ट करते हैं वन फाइन मॉर्निंग, वन फाइन डे. कि वो वन फाइन डे निकला और एक्सीडेंट हुए कोई बंदा मर गया. अबे तो घंटा फाइन डे था वो, बट वो एक तकिया कलाम बना हुआ है कि वन फाइन डे. Just write, don't bring in this one fine day. Fine has no meaning. वो जा रहा था ऑफिस, this chap X was going to office and he found that an accident had taken place. That's all. So one fine day, तकिया कलाम से कुछ भी स्टार्ट करने की जरूरत नहीं है, सब meaningless stuff. Okay, so these were some of the points I wanted to add. Now, anyone has got any queries?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I wanted to ask regarding that non-verbal communication. So, while explaining something like a technical question or some other thing, we tend to make some hand expressions, like to explain things.
आप ना
Is that
we
okay?
tend को मत छोड़ो, आप ये बोलो I tend to do like this. Then it is more precise. You understand attribution. मैं करता हूँ, दुनिया जो करे.
Okay, yeah.
हाँ,
So
बोलिए.
I tend to make hand expressions and gestures. So is that
कोई
okay?
फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
Okay.
जब तक आप अपनी बात सही कह रहे हो तो ठीक है.
Okay.
अगर मैंने आपसे पूछा कि एयरक्राफ्ट हवा में कैसे उड़ता है और आपने बर्नौलीज प्रिंसिपल समझाने के लिए मुझे हाथ से शेप क्रिएट करके दिखाई विंग की, I would say actually you have improved your communication. क्योंकि आपने विजुअल चीज भी ले आई और मेरे लिए भी दिमाग में वो इमेज क्रिएट की ना हाथ से दिखा के.
Right.
अच्छी बात है वो. भाई अब ये स्लाइड जो है किस लिए दिखाते हैं? इसलिए ना कि यू आर ब्रिंगिंग इन द 3-dimensional इफेक्ट.
Yes, sir.
समझ रहे हैं? तो मुझे अगर किसी ने विंग की शेप ऐसे क्रिएट करके दिखाई कि ये है सर, देखो ऊपर का सरफेस ऐसे है, तो ये जो है सरफेस एरिया ज्यादा होगा, तो एयर को मूव करने में ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा, इधर से फ्लैट में जल्दी मूव हो जाएगी, तो इसलिए मॉलिक्यूलर डेंसिटी यहाँ पे कम हो जाएगी एयर पार्टिकल्स की, यहाँ पर कम वो जो है ज्यादा होगी, इसलिए प्रेशर यहाँ बढ़ जाएगा.
Yes, sir.
तो इससे एक्सप्रेशन आपका खराब हुआ सर, अच्छा हुआ?
अच्छा हुआ.
हाँ, तो तभी मैं कह रहा हूँ इन चीजों में आप घबराइए मत. जो आपको नेचुरल लगता है वो करिए. बेसिक बात ये है, अगर आप खुद क्लैरिटी से समझे हुए होंगे चीज और आपका एक्सप्रेशन ठीक होगा, आप समझा पाएंगे.
ठीक है सर. ओके.
इन चीजों में इशू को पढ़ो ही मत. तभी तो मैं कह रहा हूँ 93% की चिंता ही मत करो. 93% की चिंता ये करनी है कि मैं सही समझा हुआ हूँ और मेरी कोई जिम्मेवारी है कि मैंने सही से समझाना है बात अपनी. That's all.
ओके.
तो चीजें अपने आप they will fall in place ना.
यस सर.
ये आर्टिफिशियल मैनिपुलेशन इनमें काम नहीं करती. इसलिए तो मैंने एग्जांपल छोटा मोटा नहीं लिया ना, मैंने बिल क्लिंटन का ही लिया. मैंने किसी मास्टर जी का थोड़ी लिया कि वो क्लास लेते हुए ऐसे करते थे.
हाँ सर.
हाँ, मैं अमेरिका का प्रेसिडेंट का ही देता हूँ एग्जांपल. तुम्हें आप सुन लेना, उसको आपको पता चल जाएगा झूठ बोल रहा है.
ओके.
तो उसने तो लगा दी होगी ना सारी अपनी ये 93% की शिक्षा तो ले ली होगी ना उसने.
हाँ, राइट सर.
शिक्षा क्या काम आई? नहीं आई काम. I hope all of you are realizing the importance of this topic. That's why we kept it. Tejas, you are realizing?
यस सर.
हाँ, तो कर रहे हो एफर्ट इसको इम्प्रूव करने के लिए.
यस सर.
हाँ प्लीज डू। और ये मेरी बात हमेशा ध्यान रखिए, साइकोलॉजी टेस्ट जब लिखना शुरू करते हैं कि इनमें 15% की साइकोलॉजी चेक होने वाली है, 85% तो बाहर है।
हाँ सर।
या तो आर यू मेकिंग इट इन द 15% or you're not?
ये सर ट्राई पूरा कर रहा हूँ,
हाँ
ट्राई पूरा कर रहा हूँ।
ट्राई कर रहे हो पूरा ना, हाँ इम्पोर्टेंट। फाइन, ओके देन, थैंक्स अ लॉट, टेक केयर, गॉड ब्लेस, बाय बाय।
Thank you, sir.